And this is a video review of the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Kingdom Deluxe Class Huffer. And this guy really surprised me. I knew Wave 2 was good. We've got a lot of awesome figures from Kingdom Wave 2. But this was sort of like a filler figure for me. I didn't really expect too much from him. But upon opening him, upon discovering his awesome ab crunch and all that, I think I really like him. I think he's my favorite deluxe class out of all War for Cybertron trilogy so far. So yeah, first off, before we look at Huffer, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So this is your standard Kingdom packaging, and we see Huffer both in vehicle mode and alt mode, which is really good. He is figure number K16, Kingdom 16. Back of the figure, back of the box, pictures of the figure and the vehicle mode and robot mode, and your standard Kingdom image there. Inside the box, you do get your instructions. Mine came a little bit folded, which, you know, I don't really mind. Comes with your standard Kingdom instructions, which is really clear as always. No complaints there. And mine came with this sticker, Megatron. So okay, really hard to see the sticker with the hologram. And underneath is Gladiator Megatron. Again, hard to see. Yeah, finally a sticker that's not the art. Okay, now Huffer comes with two accessories. One of them is this pseudo shield, I guess riot shield, with a view there. It's not big enough to be a riot shield, but you know, it works. And it does attach on his arm, so there's a couple of holes there, so just put them there. Again, too small for a riot shield, but it works. He also comes with this awesome looking blaster. I thought this one looked really nice. Lots of molded details and all that. It's actually molded in the orange plastic and then painted gunmetal, and I think that came out really nice. So again, it just puts you know, attaches to his hand like so. Now looking at Huffer himself, I think he came out really nice. Lots of nice usable joints. All of the molded and painted details came out nice. Remove the shield. Even his oversized arms. I know a lot of people think his arms are a bit oversized, but I think as a figure, it works well for him. Now I do have some complaints, but let's go through it with the. Let's go through the figure and then just go through it. So in terms of the head, right? Let me just move that back. That is your classic Huffer head. No complaints there. I like how that came out. I like how the paint on the eyes came out. So yeah, really nice. And the molded face is nice as well. He does have the classic truck front on the back, which works well for him. And I like that it's actually maneuverable. So you can have it high, you can have it resting low, and if you have him in dynamic poses like I do, you can reposition it however you want, which is really good, really versatile. Now the arms are molded in the black plastic and painted silver, I guess, and that worked out well, but I'm afraid that might scratch off in time. You know, silver plastic, but so far so good. The insides of the joints, they're not painted, but you know, don't mind. This part is molded in the default gray, which, I mean, it's not too bad. It doesn't stand out. Going down, lots of paint on this guy. So painted silver on the ab. The sides are just a gray plastic, painted silver. This is just a gray plastic, but lots of painted detail. The rims of the wheels are painted. Even the back truck cab is looking good. And I'm happy that they didn't mold this all in the, you know how Hasbro just molds everything in clear plastic and paints over it. I love that the plastic here is separate piece. Otherwise this would have been a, you know, an annoying figure for me. So yeah, really nice. Now my only complaint is that the back of the legs are hollow, and I do believe they could have gone without it, because if you cover this up, right, there's ample space there, so they could have just added a panel that opens and closes. But what can you do? And the other thing is, I think, you know, how they molded this, the very long thigh and the very long knee, and the knee is in a precarious position there. I think they could have done better. But also, if you have him in like these dynamic knee bends, the knee is in a precarious position, but doesn't look too bad. I think it works well. I don't really mind it. Now, articulation for Huffer, as I've mentioned, this thing repositions, so if you want it really high, you can have it really high. If you want it low, you can have it low. If you want it out of the way, you can have it out of the way, which is really nice. The head is on a ball joint, so it does move up and down a little bit, side and by side a little bit. It is a bit tight, that's okay, and it does turn. The arms, they are on a swivel at the base, and then a hinge there, so just like Studio Series Blur, but it's not too bad. There is a swivel at the top of the elbow and a 90-degree bend, actually less than 90-degree bend. And there is a hinge, but that's more for transformation. He has a waist bend. He has an unofficial ab crunch, which works well. And even the back is filled in, so I don't know, even if it's not intentional, I think it works well. So you saw the poses that I have him with the ab. So yeah, I love posing figures, as you know, so that's one biggie about this figure that I really like. The thigh can go that much out, forward all the way, back all the way. There is a swivel at the top, which is not hindered. The knee, precarious place, but not too bad. There is a very slight ankle tilt. I don't know why they limited it, because they could have added more without impacting the figure. So as it is, you can just do it like that. So it's a bit limiting. What can you do? And there is this heel spur that I do use for certain poses. So, you know, for some poses you can ignore it, but you know, this stability, but you can actually push it down and make it more stable. And it blends well on the ground as well. So if you have, unless you have like a black background or something, it blends well, so it doesn't really hurt the figure by using it. So you know, if you hunt him in a SWAT breaching position, you're trying to breach a wall or something, or a door, you can have him something like that. So yeah, really versatile figure for posing. Probably the most posable Hasbro figure I've gotten in the deluxe line, at least for the Kingdom line. Now let's address the issue of scale. Now I know a lot of collectors have issues with the scaling on this figure, which is understandable. He is a mini bot and he is a little bit bigger than your usual mini bot. But in this case, I thought I'd pull out the G1 scale image from the internet, just so we can see how bad he really is in terms of scaling. So there is Huffer, right? And in terms of the scale, he is at around between the almost a 4-meter mark, right? So compared to, say, the figures beside him, Hound and Wheeljack. So Hound and Wheeljack will be a little bit over 4 meters. So let's take Hound and Wheeljack. So yeah, I think in terms of that scale, they do work well. It's the scoop that's a bit taller, but in terms of that, yeah, I think that works well, right? And then when we go to the mini bots, Bumblebee will be a little bit, so that's Wind Charger. I don't have gears, but I do have Bumblebee and Wind Charger, which is at the 3 meters mark. So let's just remove these guys and then put Wind Charger and Bumblebee. So Wind Charger is a bit small, I have to admit, and he's from another line anyway. He's from Power of Primes, but I think that still works, right? And then even Warpath, let's say Warpath and Beachcomber. So that's Warpath and Beachcomber. Even in the G1 cartoon, they're not really in scale with each other. So Warpath is like 3.5 meters, and a Beachcomber is a little bit under 3. So that's Beachcomber. That's Warpath. So Warpath is taller than him, which I guess works really well. I mean, Power the Primes maybe a little bit out of scale, but then again, Power the Primes is a different line altogether. Now lastly, on the mini bots, I do think that some of them don't work well. At least some of the Power the Primes ones don't work well. So Brawn was supposed to be taller than Bumblebee at and about the same height as Huffer. Now this is a case where Power the Primes didn't scale well, so you need an updated Brawn, definitely. Now a few more comparisons. We have Optimus Prime at over 6 meters. So here's Siege Prime, and he goes about, if you go to this picture, he goes about the waist of Prime, which, yeah, about the waist of Prime, right? And then Ironhide and Trailbreaker. Let's put Trailbreaker here. Ironhide and Trailbreaker, they are at, so there's Trailbreaker, they're about that black line, which is at 5 meters. So yeah, if you just base it on the image, that's the 5 meter mark. This black line is the 5 meter mark. So yeah, they are about the same scale. So scale wise, at least in terms of figures in the line, I think it works really well. Now transformation. So let me just remove the gun and remove the shield. Oop, let's remove itself. Now this one figure that at the first time I tried to transform him, I did have some issues on clearance, but as I transformed him, I got the trick on how to transform him without worrying about the clearance. So first thing you want to do is, now this is optional, you don't need to turn the head, but you can, just so when you look at the bottom, you don't see his face. So first thing you do is you sweep the arms back, bend at the elbow a little bit. Now untab the arms from there, right? And then there are some pegs on his waist in the hole there. Now that's one part where I think the plastic might start scratching, so be wary, which is a shame because he's a figure that's really fun to transform as well. And then you take the wheels from the back and you unfold it and tab it from the front. So there is a tabbing point there and a tab. So, oh, that's the other thing, all the wheels are clip-on wheels, but they do roll freely. So yeah, I think Hasbro is upping their game when it comes to these clip-on wheels. So once you have that, this backpack is on a double hinge, so you just fold it down, and then hang on, before you do that, rotate the arms so they're facing back and fold the elbows back. Then you fold that piece down, and then there's a tab there and a hole there, so you just be careful not to scratch the plastic, the silver paint. I don't know if it's gonna scratch off, but there's no harm in being careful, right? And then just fold the hands down. The hands will be visible, but they're black, so I guess that works a little bit. Now for the legs, this is simple enough. There are some Okay, so first off, you unfold the heel spur. There are some pegs there and some gaps there, so you just peg that in. Same with that, you just peg that in. It's a little bit on a hook tab. I don't think it'll break, but you know, might as well just hook it on. And this one, fold this down. There are some pegs there and some holes there, so do that, and then fold this up, and there you go. That's Huffer in vehicle mode. Now we do have a way to attach these for storage, but let's focus on this vehicle mode first, right? And it's a nice vehicle mode. I don't really mind it at all. There is a bit of gappage there, but what can you do, right? But otherwise, clear windows, see inside is nice. The big pipes are nice as well. As I've said, the wheels roll freely, which is nice with the clip-on wheels. Now he does feel a little bit crooked, look a little bit crooked just because of the orange. But if you take into account the gray plastic, there is actually a flat bed there. There is a bit of gap there, but what can you do? Let's just extend that. And the hands are visible, but again, they're black, so it's not as visible. And then the top has this metallic grill pattern, which is nice. This is a painted silver piece with the blue lights. Really nice how this one turned out. Now the reason I didn't want to attach these yet is because of this. So if you have the trailer from any of the leader class primes that came out recently, there is a tab there, so you can actually peg that in, and it works really well. There is some motion you can do. So yeah, if you didn't get that one and you only have this one from Powder Primes, I mean, it still works, but it's not as, you know, doesn't work as good, I guess. If you're just taking pictures, I think that's fine. It's not attached just because of how deep the peg hole there is. So yeah. Now just to finish off the look, you can attach these things. So the shield just goes there, in which case it does cover up that hole, so you can't do that other thing now. And then this gun actually splits in two, so there is that gap there that you can use as leverage. Split that into two, and that does worry me a little bit because the pegs are really small, but they are short as well, so that might not be prone to breaking. Just be careful though. Now what you can do is you do have that orange slot, and there is that orange peg, so you can just slot that in. And there you go. That's his official weapon storage. I don't really like the weapon storage just because it changes the type of vehicle that he is. Now he looks more like a, what do you call this, a gravel carrying kind of truck. But you know, it works well for storage, I guess, just so you don't lose it. Now for some size comparisons, here he is with the mini bots that I compared with him earlier. Oh, yeah, aside maybe from Brawn and Bumblebee, I don't think they do scale well, or maybe not at all. But you know, this line was made for robot mode scaling and not vehicle mode scaling anyway. So here he is with Trailbreaker, Optimus Prime. So yeah, not really scale well in terms of the vehicle mode, but that's not what we're displaying them in anyway, right? So I'll quickly transform him back. Let's just remove this, remove that. Can combine the gun. First off, we extend the legs, right? Untab the heels, carefully unpeg it. That's the leg done. For the arms, you push the arm out, extend this, push these back. Okay, this is where the clearance comes in. So there is a bit of clearance here. It's easier to do that when this thing is still pressed back, so just do that. Now unpeg this, peg the arms back, rotate the head, and I think officially this needs to go that much. And yeah, you're supposed to friction the backpack back. So officially you're supposed to do it like this, but again, this thing is flexible. You can have it high up if you wanted to. Me, I just leave it down for those static poses. Okay, final thoughts. I really like how this guy came out. This guy really surprised me. He's, as I've said, he's my favorite deluxe out of all the War for Cybertron trilogy by far now, edging both Sunstreaker and Sideswipe. And for a character like Huffer, he's like a, you know, in the shadows kind of character. No one really likes him. He's in the background at all times. Having a figure of him that's this awesome, you know, I'd say get him. If you have a chance, get him. Get him ahead of Fractonite, definitely. Get him ahead of RC, especially if you already had RC in Earthrise. Get him ahead of Eraser. He's the one to get, at least for this wave. So yeah, that was the review. If you like that review, please leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. As always, this has been Grimtrigger, and this has been the awesome Kingdom Huffer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.